It's the Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coach's Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's on 101.9, 100.5, 1450, WGNSSports.com, and BigGTV.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Prentice Allsup Heating and Air, family owned and operated since 1977. Get the best service with Prentice Allsup Heating and Air online at PrenticeAllsup.com. John Ding is back with you here with our second coach of the day. That's Matt Williams, the head coach of the Smyrna Bulldogs. And Matt, before we get started, I'm going to tell you, it was a crazy night everywhere. I was soaking wet. I've lost a pair of tennis shoes out of the deal. It was terrible. Now, I'm trying to make you feel better, okay? So it was a tough night for the Bulldogs.
It was, yeah. We're I'm gonna try to start with a positive. I watched the film, and there are some things you can build on, but there's not a lot. But there are some things, and I think better days are ahead for us. And I think we were clearly outmatched. I know we were clearly outmatched last night. But you know how it is as a head football coach. I take responsibility for the loss, and it's my fault. There's a lot of things that we probably didn't look very coached on, and that after watching the film is glaring. We had a opportunity down there. We ran the ball down about the 10-yard line on the kickoff return and had an opportunity to put the ball in the end zone, and didn't do that. Had a chance to kick a field goal. Had 10 on the field for the field goal try, which is unacceptable, and I've got to do a better job making sure that does not happen. And some reason had a kid off the line would come off the field, and we didn't see it from the box. And things like that get you beat when you're playing good opponents. But we felt like at that juncture it should have been, we'd have done our job. We also missed out on a screen pass. It probably would have made it 14-7 at that point, and didn't do it. And against a really good team, they've got really good players, good coaching staff, and we got outplayed, we got outcoached. I've got to do a better job, and but we will come back and really get after it on Monday, and we're determined to get better. So Smyrna deserves better. The town of Smyrna deserves better than what I gave them last night. Well,
Matt, Oakland is, as you know, really talented, and they're very fast. But I know you had some special team play. I think would be a little bit of a positive, but you just weren't able to put it in the end zone or take advantage of that.
No, we did have some. I was proud of we score Weathers had a good return there, and I thought our kick coverage teams, for the most part, were really good. That's obviously for them. It doesn't matter who you're kicking it to. If you're kicking a tut on the punt, on the punt game, that's obviously extremely dangerous. And when you're kicking their kickoff return team, there's not a good spot to kick it in. They got players everywhere. So I was proud of our coverage teams. I thought for the most part did a good job. But we've got to do. Our thing right now is we're not executing things that we work a lot on. It's our base stuff that we're not executing, and that's a deal where I've got to do a better job making sure we can. And I think we've got kids that'll come back home. We got kids here right now watching film, and it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing as a player, as a coach, but it's also a chance for growth. That's what I told them last night. It's not something you just got to take ownership of, look in the mirror, and know that you got to fix it. And that's what we're going to do. And like I said, we got kids here right now already starting that process.
Crazy night, really, all the way around, and for everybody that attended, the people, radio crews, TV, whatever. It was just a crazy night. And I know you had a long halftime as well, and had some decisions had to be made. But what do you tell them when you go in at a big delay? And I'm not talking about that game in particular, but when I know that's probably happened before. When there's a big delay at halftime, what do you do? What does a coach do?
Well, we went in, and obviously, I had a stern talk with the team about what I expected when we came out in the second half. And, no matter what the score ended up, we expected to see them, us play hard. And you do those things, you make your adjustments as best you can. And then when, it's going to be a long delay, we talk to our kids all the time about how, 90% of life has been able to adapt and adjust. And, it's sort of a life lesson thing to where, things aren't always things rarely are going to go as planned. So that going in. So, we talk about the ability to be able to adapt. We've had some situations like everybody has with practice, whether it be heat or whatever the situation may be, where we've had to adapt and what time we're going to practice, how we're going to name it. And we just talk about the ability to adapt at all times. And, so that's just something you do. And we wanted to finish the football game. I want to say that, when they asked me, we were going to stay as long as it took. And I think you know me, John. I'm not ever going to not finish something that we started, and I don't want anybody to think because we were getting beat 35-0 that was the deal where we just threw in the towel. We didn't. So I do think that needs to be said, and I hate it for our kids not to be able to finish because that's also an opportunity to get some other kids in that haven't had an opportunity to play.
Right.
And that was sort of our plan. And I've got some seniors, especially senior linemen, that I was going to put in and get some time because not only do they deserve the reps, but they need the reps to get better. And that just was what it was.
I definitely know you better than that. I knew that was not your option there. Townsend had a good night. Had 5 tackles and a sack. So that's some individual things to look at too. Some people that stepped up a little bit.
Yeah, Makai's a kid who's worked hard and got an opportunity last night. And it's something we're dealing with. We have some kids that are having to learn that being late to practice or missing practice is not okay. And so Makai got an opportunity to step up and did some good things. And that's what you have to have. You have to have guys who are willing to step in. That it's not easy when you don't play a lot and maybe you're not getting the playing time you want, but you don't ever know when that moment's going to come. I mean, it can come at any time in football. It only takes one injury or just one little thing, and you're in there, and it's your time. So, I think it's important we talk about always being ready and not knowing you never know when your opportunity's going to come. So, kids like Makai did some good things. Defensively, I thought at times we did a good job, but we at times did not. We had way too many missed tackles, and you can. That's what I tell the kids. If you get beat, you can. Nobody wants to get beat, and I hate losing, but you can handle getting beat a lot better if you felt like you did the things like tackling when you had opportunities, executing things that you needed to execute. And that's the thing that bothers us about last night is we had way too many missed tackles, and some of that had to do with them being really good, but a lot of it had to do with us just, I think, getting big-eyed and feeling like the moment was too big. So that's something we got to feel. We want to get to where we want to be. We're going to have to fix those things and be able to make those plays in those moments. And that's what I tell them. The difference between us and Oakland right now is Oakland, when they get out there, they're not fazed by anything. And we are. We get, really big-eyed quick. I call it sort of deer in the headlights. And simple things that we are doing. Offensively, we've got like 4 run schemes. We got a couple different pass protections. We're very simple. Mm-hmm. And when we get in big situations, I feel like we completely forget how to execute those things. And that's on me. We've got to make that happen. It doesn't matter. Ultimately, again, I say this, I know people get tired of hearing it. It's my fault. And I've got to find a way to make sure they don't get big-eyed and don't get, the moment's not too big. And that's something we'll start working on Monday. But I've got a group of kids. Last night, I love them. I didn't want, I wouldn't anybody. We just got to fix some things. And, that's part of growing up in any situation and part of life. Sometimes you get knocked on your butt. You got to get back up. And that's just what we got to do here.
Well, it's like one region game. You got plenty more coming up. Yeah. Matt Williams, our guest here on the Coach's Corner, and Matt, it's Siegel. They're a scary team. I think they're leading Stewart's Creek. They're playing the rest of the game today. They're leading Stewart's Creek by 7, which indicates to me they're capable of beating anybody. So you got to prepare for them next week. Yeah,
I know. We know they beat Cookville, and I think got beat at Lebanon. But from when I talked to Coach Gentry at Lebanon. Just to ask him what he thought. And, I think they got lucky. They had some big plays in the passing game that were sort of, just sort of like he even said they were sort of, lucky catches, lucky plays. So I think it was sort of misfortune as far on Siegel's part for that. But we know they're going to have a good team. I know we've played them the last few years. Mm-hmm. We're familiar. And I know they got a junior offensive tackle that's a stud. And I think the quarterback's a really good player. And, defensively, they're going to really be feisty and get after you and play hard. So, we're going to have a great plan against him. Coach Renshaw does a great job, and they got a good staff. I know a lot of their staff, and they do a really good job. So, you know how it is in this region, especially. There are no down, easy games ever. So, we're really going to have a good week, and we're going to have to get over this one quick. I told them, I remember years ago we had a game. I can't remember who it was, but we got beat, and I just felt like it was something. Sometimes you just got to flush it down the drain, and so this sort of tells my age a little bit, but we had a DVD of the game or VHS or whatever it was. And, I remember I took a shovel out and dug a hole with the team and I buried it, covered it up. And I told our kids that story last night and said, we just got to bury it and move on. And, you learn from it, but sometimes you just got to flush and get it going and move on.
I guess you're glad, like when you were playing, Siegel was a non-district game. I know you didn't shy away from anybody. I know you're probably glad that you went ahead and played some of these teams because you kept a region schedule from this region anyway.
Yeah, we did. We played Riverdale every year, Rockvale, and Siegel last year, I think it was. I may be leaving some people out, but so we played in the district and kept some of the natural rivalries. And we're and I've said it. I'm glad to be back in this district.
Yeah.
I think it's fun. I think it's it's a lot. It's just a better fit.
Yeah, crowds are definitely better. That's for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, Matt, it's a pleasure talking to you again, and I'll see you in a few weeks. But good luck against Siegel next week.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it.
All right, and hey, tell the kids hi.
I'll do it, John. Thank you.
That's Matt Williams, head coach of the Smyrna Bulldogs. When we come back, we're going to be talking to Matt Kreisky, head coach of Blackman, here on the Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coaches Corner, brought to you by Craig's Tax Service, specializing in personal and business tax preparation, financials, and bookkeeping services. Find out more at craigstaxservice.com.